Good morning. Welcome to Coffee Across. Okay. Let's see. This morning. Okay, let's get some blind samurai fishing going. Kill that. Go here. Joshua Choo, Joshua Choo. What's up, Josh? Let's get jittery. Fun times. It's you and me, buddy. No Brian today. Do you want to do? Do you want to do your game? We can do that anytime you want. Let me load up some Skype action. Load it, load it. Oh, look at that. Your room's clean. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Hey, we got a fish moving around. Got some taps on the water. Look at that. We're actually coming along okay. Now we just got to make it, whatchamacallit, invisible. So we can look through the water, right? Where's that fish at? He's just chilling. Hanging out down there, waiting to be seen. Look at that fin. He's like Jaws. Bom, 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 bom. Bom, bom. Eat me. Bom, 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 bom. All right, dial on in, because the next thing I'm going to do on Blind Samurai is probably some UI work, and we'll go from there. But let's talk about your stuff this week. Let's see here. All right, toggle this back on. Let's. Yay, what's up, Keeb? Let's get jittery. Oh my god, dude. It's awesome. Fun times. Hey, do you guys like blind samurai fishing? Do you think this is an interesting one to watch, or do you want me to start switching over to a bigger project? Oh, hey, hold on. Josh is calling. Woo! Woo!
Can you hear me?
I can. I can hear you.
Oh, great. It's actually set up right this time.
Yeah, let's see. Hold on, let me make sure you're on screen. Oh, it was over your face. Over your face. Over your face. All right, let's all right, let's see what you got. You want to share screen with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, let me see. Hey, Kiba, I'm going to send you a link. Actually, then let's do this. Wow, we're getting set up here. What? No, thanks. That's fine. Great. Um, close that. Let's go to Twitch. Coffee across. Let's go to my dashboard. Let's fix this action while we're at it. God, this is episode 29. You guys realize this has been 29 weeks of
Games.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. It doesn't feel like it. Feel pretty natural.
There we go. Hey, Keep, check that out.
Okay, I think I got everything set up I need set up. I got the spreadsheets too that have like the progression written out on them.
Yep.
I got a lot of progression implemented in the game too, of the idea I have it so far.
Yep. Keep, yeah, man. 29 weeks, no interruptions. It's been 29 Saturdays in a row now. I'm telling you, man, I want to be the Bob Ross of Unity. Oh, I sent you the keynote. Yeah, hold on a sec. Sorry about that. Let's see. How you been, Josh?
Busy?
Busy?
It was like the last 2 Saturdays. I mean, they were nice, but it was like a friend was down, old friend from college. He was down from NorCal. And I just hung out with him that weekend, caught up, and like, doing stuff. Got a friend's wedding coming up, so he had like bachelor party and stuff like that. But we spent the bachelor party playing ping pong, really.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Fun times.
But yeah, other than that, I just all my other free time was going to this and like playing the different games as examples, like Pac-Man, Plants vs. Zombies, Tetris, stuff like that.
Uh-huh.
So
playing some old games to get a feel for the
the progression and like and another thing I kind of acknowledged, right, where it was like, because you're always telling me that like when I'm going off of intuition, I'm starting at where my own skill level is.
Yes.
And when I was playing, because I was playing the new Pac-Man.
Well, share your screen. Share your screen.
Oh, is it shared?
I think
I did.
Oh, you did? Hold on a sec. Let me get some coffee. Let's get more jittery.
But, it was just like, I started to acknowledge, like, where my skill level kind of lied,
Well, you have to be very honest about it, right?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me go to Skype. Oh, you did share your screen. Hold on a sec. Yeah. It didn't ask me for, It's weird. It just accepted it. Did I accept it without even paying attention? I may have. Okay. Can I move? Very strange. I'm going to try and make it as full screen as possible because since we're double screen sharing, I want to make sure that everybody else can see it. Keeb, can you see this? Is this? Can you read what's on my screen from Josh's screen? Nice. Reset save data?
Oh, yeah. I got that all working.
Have you, dude, I might ask you to help me with something and write me a couple scripts.
Okay.
It's a couple of real simple, like, drag and drop type shit. Look at the
stuff is pretty good to go.
Look at your hierarchy over here. You've got all kinds of great stuff going in. You got your managers, your arena manager, your gameplay manager.
Yeah, it's actually a little messier than I wanted.
Sure.
But, like, most stuff, because, like, I made the managers first, and then I would just kind of start building the game, thinking like this is how I needed to organize stuff.
Sure.
But most stuff ended up in the gameplay manager and in the arena manager.
Yep.
And like the gameplay manager really like most of the critical kind of variables for all the gameplay are pretty much there, and it helps me keep it organized.
Yep.
But and then like I mean under this one is almost everything. Oh no, that's not it. Yeah, almost everything is under here, or it's just like all the main menu stuff is here, just because it's just on the rage locator. But yeah, it's for the rage ghost cube.
Right.
Like each one of them was a motion. But yeah, so like all the main menu stuff is under here. Most of the panel stuff is under here. Like all your teleport levels, what the arena is shifted to is under there.
Yep.
And a lot of the good stuff is anything I can have there is under that script.
Are you? Hold on. Does it default to private when you just declare the variable?
Oh no, in JavaScript it's public.
Is it all public? Okay.
Yeah. So like I made a few things private, and then like I only have a couple static variables.
Okay.
Like
yep, I see your username and your unique net ID, etc.
Yeah, mostly that's all stuff that goes to the leaderboard.
Yep.
Like I have a leaderboard. It's kind of working.
Sure.
But yeah, most of the stuff goes to that. Yeah, everything's completely tunable. Like, because I mean, I know now that it's like I'm gonna be changing, like everything, right? So
yep.
Any knob that could be turned, I try to keep it so it's flexible.
So, are you tuning this all in just in your script, or did you expose all these as to the editor?
Oh, they're all exposed.
Okay, show me. Oh, hey, look at that. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Joshua Chu, man, you've come a long way in the last year, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I made a new ghost.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So I mean, it's like the other ghost is still there, but it's like rare that you see the pink one. Now the yellow one. It was like you talked about last time, the fear ghost. And it was like. I mean, I thought it was a good idea because you were saying like their personalities need to be more clear and everything needs to be more differentiated.
Yep.
So basically, what I have now is.
Oh my God! Look at you with your Google spreadsheets.
Actually, I think the ghost is outdated. Like this is the progression. I can show you that later. But like the ghost.
Well, just share it with me. We won't do it on screen. I'll look at your progression, and I can probably see if it progresses. You know, there's a Google Sheets importer that you can use, so you can basically put your stuff in a Google Drive and tune your game in the Google Sheet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Hold on a sec. I think Go Sheets for Unity extension allows you to get an execution time data directly from Google Docs spreadsheets.
Oh wow, jeez.
Yeah. It's $5, but it's worth looking at, and that will allow you. So you know what's interesting about that? Here's some web data. Blah blah blah. What's interesting about that is imagine actually after you release the game, and you've got your analytics running, right? And you're like, oh, everybody's plateauing out at like level 9.
Yeah.
Right? Then you can retune level 9 just by doing the Google Doc. And everybody playing it should get it.
Wow.
Right? So if you structure it that way, you can do it. So you'll be able to tune on the fly, right? You could essentially do daily tuning if you wanted.
Wow.
Wow. Anyway,
that's just pretty crazy.
But if you structure right, you should be able to do that, right?
Yeah, I'm not so sure I'm set up for that.
No, don't worry so much about final tuning now, as long as it's kind of playable. So. Yeah.
So based on like the advice of last time, the main changes to the ghosts is that, their personalities serve kind of clear function.
Uh-huh.
I guess I would say, where it's like so now the red ghost, he's pretty much the same. He's right on top of you at all times, right? When he appears, and he orbits around you, throws magic frequently. The blue one, he's as far away from you as possible. Like he immediately chooses whatever side of the arena is furthest from the side you're closest to.
Yep.
And then he goes over there. The green one, he goes to the middle, right?
Okay.
Of the other two, basically.
Wait, is the green one friendly? What's his deal?
Befuddlement, like confusion.
Oh, so, confusion. Like, yeah. Okay.
He goes there and he's kind of lost. And then, actually, you mentioned a fear ghost, like one that was scared last time.
Uh-huh.
And, I think that turned out to be perfect. Because, what he does is, like, the arena is separated into 4 quadrants to him.
Okay.
And then, like, his script is detecting how many ghosts, and also including the player, are in each quadrant.
Uh-huh.
And then, so, like, he appears, he freaks out, and then whichever quadrant has, like, the lowest number of, like actors in it, right?
Is where he goes.
He runs to that one, and he hides there.
Okay, he kind of wants to be alone.
Yeah, and so you get, like, it gives a nice spread of all 4. And then, and then the pink one's still there. It's more of a party ghost now. Like, you have to really be playing really well for the pink one to show up, and then that one will just jump to the other ghosts and, like, dances in front of them and stuff like that, and then we'll throw magic when they throw. And that's, like, if you're just doing really good, I start throwing more stuff.
So what's the pink ghost?
It was Enamored Delight, right? Like, it was, it went through a lot of different kind of emotions, right? But I mean, right now, it's really just kind of the party ghost, right? And it's
the
like
party ghost.
Because it waits for, like all 4 ghosts have to be out right now for about, like, a long time, like 2 minutes. You're not really going to see them unless you're, like, really, really going for big points.
Yeah.
And it goes, oh, there's a party there. Everybody's over here. I'm going to show up now.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
And yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's awesome. That's better than where I was going. Like I was, like, really into the idea of you doing like almost like a Let's Be Friends ghost, but it sounds like it's kind of what it is. Like he's the party.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing.
Party friends ghost, right? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So, like those are ghosts. I can show you the progression. Like, I mean, right now it's matching what I have on the spreadsheet. It was like you were talking about, I started too far up, basically, the progression where I felt comfortable,
right?
Yeah. And you're like, start with 1 panel. So I can just play that.
Yeah, actually, can you go, maximize on play next time? So let's get it full screen.
Sounds fine now, too. My friend's been making me a song, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
On here.
That's awesome. Oh, no, actually, so, like, turn it off.
That's right. And, yeah, there we go. Okay. Let me check one thing. Because I still have the point that I started at before as, it is.
Oh, pro start. Yeah. Good. Yeah, you get tired of testing the slow levels?
yeah, and,
yeah.
And that was kind of one thing I was picking up on the Pac-Man DX Championship Edition thing, where it was like, it had like beginner, normal, expert, and I realized I always started on expert, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or like the game speed is like it starts faster and can be the fastest. And it's like, oh, so I probably need to do something similar to that.
Right.
I was thinking.
Right. Yep.
So like, so this is the full thing as if you were a new player, and I hope too many prints aren't in the inspector. Yeah, okay, because that'll slow it down. Okay, here we go. So, yeah. Oh, that's not supposed to happen. That's completely wrong. I was testing something else. Like the panels can move now at higher levels, and panels are moved. It should be off, and their panel level shouldn't be 4. It should be 1. It should have only been showing one panel.
Okay, try it again. Because you did
Yeah.
pause in the middle, like you like. Let's see.
Okay. Well, I know they won't be moving, but they might still be showing 4. Yeah, it is. Oh, you know what? I think this code is still drawing the Pro Start. It shouldn't be. That's easy. I can just turn that
Oh,
off.
you know what? No, you turned off Pro Start while you had play going. Go back to your inspector.
Oh, that's right. So
Yeah,
it's not
yeah,
saving it.
yeah. Go back to the inspector.
There we go. Okay. It should be fine now. What was the
Yeah.
other thing I just adjusted? I turned off Pro Start and then oh, panel's gonna move. Okay, yeah. So both of them should be good.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, right from the beginning now.
Yeah, sorry. My my OCD was looking at that play button like, don't change anything. Don't change anything. Josh, turn it off, turn it back on. Do you know what I mean? Like in the back of my head, I was like,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to relaunch. Okay, let's see this action.
So yeah, now it's just 1. And basically each game level is 5 panels. And after 5 panels, you go to the next level. You get Ghost Panic button at the beginning of the level, so you can get rid of any ghosts from the last one.
Boom! That's nice. You did a nice little twirl effect, dude. Where'd you get that? Did you script that?
No, actually, I realized they have image effects in Unity, and you just got to import them. It's part of like the default stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
I never looked at it before, so
there's a lot of stuff that they've provided. You just have to go jump on it. Nice.
And so like now,
oh, which means that I'm gonna go look at it because I might find some of the shader stuff that I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's surprising how much stuff they have. Like, I only started looking at that within the last couple of weeks. And so, like, yeah, so right now the ghost spawning actually is set up on a timer. Like, every new level you get to.
Oh, here comes Angry. Oh, here comes Angry. Oh, no. Oh, no, you went. Oh, is he? Oh, he's rolling a donut at you. Watch out for the donut.
Every new level you get to, it's like there's like a timer for the ghost appearing that resets.
Yep.
And it's like in 10 seconds the first one's gonna appear, 10 more the next one will appear, 10 more, and like the rotation is set so that like the first one you're guaranteed to see the red one, you know, second you're guaranteed to see the blue, third it's gonna be red then blue, and then this one I introduce green, and then eventually it's at the point where every rotation can be all 4 ghosts over the course of 40 seconds.
Yep.
And it actually has every permutation of the order they can appear in.
Yeah, Keith's got a good note. I was thinking the same thing. Your shadow lingers too long.
Oh, the one that after he teleports?
Yeah, when you teleport.
Okay, yeah, it's like confusing to the eye, right? Like,
yeah, it is.
That too much.
It's too. It lingers too long and it's too static. Like it kind of needs to go. Like your alpha ramp is really slow. Yeah. I think you can alpha down to like 10% and it can stay longer, but it has to stay longer at like a lower percentage. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like if I were to ramp it right now, like draw it, it would be at 100%. Sorry, I'm looking at the screen. It would be at 100%, and then it drops down this way, right? And what you really want is like it drops down and then maybe lingers, right? It's the inverse curve of what you've got going on. So you can like leave it at like 5% opacity if you want to show like the after image.
Yeah.
Yeah, as opposed to like showing the dark shadow first and then having that linger for a bit and then fade out. Mm-hmm. It's the other way. You want to do like shoo, and then right.
Something else is messed up.
Oh my god.
The arena shifts are turned off.
Do you agree with that, Keeb? Oh, and also, Keeb, anytime you want to call in, that's the Skype address. So add that action, and then you can call in whenever you want, man. And you don't have to turn video on. But it'd be great to talk to you too. I haven't talked to you in a long time, man.
Something else is wrong.
What's wrong?
The arena shifting like it had last time, how it was changing.
Yep.
It's turned off for some reason. It was probably because I was working on the moving panels.
Yep.
Oh no, never mind. There it is. It came too late.
Boom.
But
God, I love that. How are you doing the clouds in the background?
That's just a cube.
Okay.
And
scrolling UVs.
Yeah, and then the UV scrolling on it.
It's nice.
Yeah.
You could do. So think about it this way: if you put a cube inside a cube, well, that it's probably expensive this way, but and turn the opacity, like in other words, you know how like an old
layer.
Yeah, it's like 2 layers where they're going like this kind of a thing. But like I'm a little bit loath to tell you to do anything with that background because it's so innocuous right now.
Yeah.
That it fits with what's going on in your world. You know, I almost wonder if you don't even need the bleachers.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the idea that it's an arena.
Yeah.
But I would almost say that you've got them built out physically. You could probably put cards. I mean, unless you're going to do something with the camera.
It does pan right now when you get a game over.
Well, let's see it.
Okay.
Well, no, don't get a game over. I want to see. Get a panel. Okay. Oh, that's nice. Are you going to put dudes up in the?
I was at first, but actually, I think I might not now. Like, maybe. Like, I mean, I have some like other bad guy characters from other games I could throw in there, but I was like, if it's gonna be on phones too, right? Maybe like, I should avoid that intensity. So I says like, maybe like when you get a game over, like the arenas, the bleachers will be full of ghosts, and the ghosts will like flash in briefly or something like that.
Sure.
Like some are not there all the time, and it seems kind of mysterious, maybe or something.
So Keeb has a note. Yeah, like Quick 3 used to do in the skybox. Their skybox was like a like 2 scrolling UVs kind of thing to do the clouds and whatnot.
Oh yeah.
Oh, boom.
I could try that. Oh, the other thing too. When my buddy was over, he was playing for a bit, and like, cause like on the teleport, right? There's a delay to the startup. Oh, that magic's hard.
Yeah.
And he was saying like, you know, thinking as an experienced player, which I guess was the same way he was coming from. He was like, it was too slow, right?
Yep.
And I agreed with him because the original startup time for the teleport was 1.66 seconds, right? And that's long. If you're making something super casual, I guess that's kind of okay.
Yeah.
So,
do you have a rule of thumb for decision timing?
No, I don't have any.
So I would say that most people, you can't go wrong with sticking to about 1 second for casual, right? Like you're only required to make 1 decision per second. It could be longer.
Yeah. Right.
It's dependent upon their decision making skills, right? But you really only want them to do like 1 per second. That's casual. Faster, it's like sub 1 second times, you start to get to twitchy.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, that's good then, because what I implemented for it is basically the teleport level, right? And it's down in the right hand corner. It's like it's saying teleport speed 5. And it's like basically when you start off the game, you're at teleport speed 5, which is 1.16 seconds, right?
Yep.
And like certain actions you're doing in the game, it's counting them as like experience points more or less to level up the speed of a teleport. And so basically, if you're doing really well, you can get your teleport up to level. I haven't actually seen that yet. You can get your teleport up to level 10, where the timing at that point, the delay will be 0.66 seconds, right? So I guess that's way up into Twitch timing. But if you happen to do really bad, the game will start to scale down to 1.66 seconds is the slowest it can go. And so, like, Basically, what happens there is that like so your teleport's faster, slower, and the speed of the panels disappearing actually adjusts in time with that.
Okay.
So like the game doesn't get away from you. I feel like, but the ghosts are going to continue to get stronger, continue to get faster,
Yeah.
continue throwing magic. So ideally, you want to be faster,
Sure.
but it does accommodate a less experienced skill level. I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's interesting. I just from your description, I would actually say that the inverse is true. The longer the teleport, the more
Yeah.
skilled you have to be at choosing where you're going.
Okay.
Right? Because like
Yeah.
the shorter it is, the easier the delta between you making a decision and living that mistake is actually easier because you get there and it lets you make the next decision, right? Which feels good to the experienced player. And to
Yeah.
me, as a difficulty ramp, it's actually, you want the inverse, where it's like actually, so the end result of this is I wouldn't fuck with that too much.
Okay.
Be consistent, right? As far as like how fast it takes to teleport, because you've got so many other variables going.
Yeah.
That difficulty ramped based on your speed of teleportation may get potentially frustrating, and it's going to get conflicting feedback. Right? Like it's like depending on your skill level is going to determine the feedback that you get. Right? Like if I'm slow, I'm going to be like, oh, blah 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 blah. Like I get stuck. Right? You know what I mean? Like I make a decision and it takes a long time for that decision to happen. It's going to be frustrating to everybody, right? Like forget about skill level for a second. And then understanding the teleport should be static. It should be like this is how the teleport works, right? Unless you actually throw in a conscious curveball. Your teleport is changing because, right?
I see.
Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, think about it this way: is like you're projecting yourself into the main character, right? And one of the oh my god, epic fail! What's going on here?
I died, but like it's really skippy right now because there's problems with some of the scripts. But like what it's supposed to do is that like it's supposed to like you die and it zooms in on him. It kind of keeps him on that corner of the screen, and then the camera's also gonna turn towards the ghost that was the last one that hit you. It's kind of the idea right now. Like, it's not really final, but like I feel like it's important that I look at the ghost that killed you, and they do have animations.
Yes.
So it's kind of.
So did you get killed by the red ghost?
Probably.
Okay. Well, we'll look at that later. I think you're right, and it's good to identify like how you died so that the player can understand, so they can do it better next time, right?
Yeah.
So let's get back to talking about teleport again. Turn it like hit play again.
Okay.
Okay. So I've got here's a little bit of feedback on that. Instead of, or maybe not instead of, but yeah, oh yeah, go hit play. I'm waiting for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, can you do a version with no ghosts? Can you turn them off in the inspector? Let's like. Or
I could. I think that should be. No, that's not it. It's. I could do it pretty easily. There's one like function I just need to turn off, and then it should be fine.
Is it a spawning function?
Yeah. Oh, there we go. That will go spawn. And if I just comment that out.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
It should go.
Okay. So let's just look at your teleporting, because I think you can make this snappier.
Okay.
Right? Because I think you want the teleport. I mean, this game is all about that teleport, right?
Yeah.
And so I think it's worth spending a little bit of polish time on it. Um, to really get it snappy. And I think what Keeb was getting at with the shadow and other stuff was like, okay, teleport somewhere besides
On a panel?
a panel. Okay, yeah, forget about the panels for now. Just teleport left and right. Just sort of randomly. Oh, see, I was missing because you had so much going on. I missed those special effects.
Yeah, it does get pretty busy pretty fast.
I missed the purple and green completely. Like when it's native or live, it was like I totally lost it. But I'm also not playing, which means that I'm not looking at the cursor as muscle memory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I wonder. Everybody else has a color theme.
Mm-hmm.
You should sort of stick to those ghost color themes, right? Like blue magic is blue magic, etc. Like red guy, he makes red magic, and stick to that color scheme. Gaspar needs his own color theme.
Yeah, like he's overlapping too much, right?
Yeah, well, he's overlapping too much, and also like this purple blends in with the other colors on the wheel, right? Like because you've got red, blue, like a yellow, and like a green, right? And so your effects should actually, you need to treat him like a separate character. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
either or. I would suspect that what you should try is go full neutral and just make all of his effects white right now, until you figure out like a color that you like. Do you know what I mean? But like in looking at it from like a just putting on like a color balance like art director hat for a second, is like he needs to have his own identity, which is a certain color. And I like the fact that you've got his magic in his hands matches his hands, right? It's that blue color.
Yeah, he's got a little. Oh, yeah, I just happened to do that.
Right, but I mean, there's like you're headed down the right path there, right? So if you change the effects, you should change his hands to that color, right? Of like he has a physical identifier which shows what the magic is going to be, right? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, go change all the effects to white. Just do it right now. Let's just play with it.
Okay.
That's not what it's going to be final, but that's where you need to start. Hold on, I'm going to get more coffee and blow my nose.
Okay. Let's see.
Just do it real grossly by opening up the effect and then just like changing the color emit to white.
That one's pretty buried down on there.
Yeah. It's also so you're actually, can you pop that again? Did that call up an inspector window?
The particles?
Your start color, yeah, your color. There we go. Okay. I would say, and you're in an RBG, so you see. Oh, keep it up on screen. Yeah, switch it over to white.
Actually, I think the default image for this might be blue.
That's okay.
So it's not going to be completely white. I think I have a white particle around somewhere.
No. Just stick with it. Go white. Go back to your color. Yeah, go white. But here's the other thing: is wait, what? There's a light on the particle. Okay, so
there's a light, but the particle itself is blue also.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Just leave it blue. It'll be as long as it's like in the white spectrum. Go back up.
I see.
Go back up to the color. See how it's a little bit lighter? Like you're just gonna tune everything to be noticeably more light.
Ah.
Right.
All right.
Go up to. Okay, hold on. Stop scrolling.
Sorry. When I think, sometimes I just roll.
Start color.
Okay.
Hit start color. Okay. Your alpha scale. You're at 200 of 255, right? Which is like 80%.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, drop it to like 60%, which is going to be something like Well, just drop it to one, uh,
Like 120.
well, yeah, 128.
Maybe 140.
No, just do 128. Just go to half.
128. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, close that, accept it. Actually, go to 64. Okay.
Maybe
Well, half step in between.
between 64
96.
and 98.
Okay, start there. So now close that. Now go to.
All the other particles?
No. Stick with this particle. We're just going to tune this one real quick. So
Okay.
scroll it down a little bit. No. Back up. Okay, color over lifetime. Click on that. Okay. Your gradient. Okay, now do you see there's like 3 carets at the top. It's white, and black.
Yeah, that's the alpha, right?
Right, yeah. So move that middle caret to the left. Too far left. Go make it at about 25%.
Okay.
Okay, and then click the bottom caret on the right. No, don't move it. Don't move it. I just want to see what it is. Okay, go to the black caret. Alpha is at 0. No, stop.
Oh. sorry, I'm a mover.
It doesn't stop moving. God damn it, Josh. You're a new South Park character. God damn it, Josh. Okay.
Yeah, the top is alpha, the bottom's color.
Okay. Okay. Close this. Go back to your starting opacity. You can go. Actually, 96 is fine. Close that. Okay. That's not going to make a huge difference right now, but look at start it now, because I want to see the particles he's got going on.
It looks more magical.
It does look more magical. So what I did, looks like you've got max particles at 1,000. You should probably drop that. You want maximum effect from the like particles is. Hold on, let's see. I'm looking. There we go. So from this distance, now that I'm seeing it, okay, let's go back to your particle. So what I'm shooting for is your particle has a hot spot at the beginning, but the reason I dropped the opacity on it, right, is from the emitter, scroll up slightly. Okay, you have max particles 1,000. What's your emission rate? 30? You have 30 particles, right, that are all coming from a single point.
Mm-hmm.
They're stacked. Right? And so if you have them at full opacity, it's just going to look like somebody is throwing a bunch of playing cards. Like they're stacking them, right? Yeah. So to get the effect of seeing all of those particles, you have to be able to see through those cards. Right? But you also have to remember that those cards are going to be so what's the shader you've got on this thing? Is it additive?
I think it's additive.
Which is even more so, right? So that's why it looks a little hotter at the beginning. Right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's an additive shader. I think most of my particles are additive. Matte particles, Gaspar charge, alpha blended.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I'll do mobile particles alpha blended. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, so okay, let's go look at his casting animation.
Okay. You just want me to I can bring up like a Blender file and look at that. Or do you want me?
Do you work in the animator at all?
Yeah. I just use Blender and the animations in there.
So okay, I'll just give you the note. his cast, as majestic as it is, it's majestic right now. It's slow.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I would say that what you want is from his cast. Well, so think about it this way. Let's just talk about like the pillars of that animation, right? You want to show these things. He's casting, right? He's casting a teleport spell specifically, so there's an option there to potentially show where he's going, right?
Oh.
But think about it, or where he is in his animation, right? Oh yeah, minimize Blender for now. So
okay.
So hold on, because I don't think you like. We don't have like. Let's skip through this. So here's the note. My suggestion is instead of doing a sweep animation, which is very majestic and sort of magical in that way, either do like a Nightcrawler Ninja Bamf, where it's down, right, or from bottom up. I would try both. Yeah, like he's doing something to himself. He's teleporting, right? Whereas like your animation right now is generally cast out, right? Which is nice, but it's so slow that it draws your attention away from the fact that it's a teleport, right? So you want something like, boom, whatever that it could still be this animation. Just shorten the timing up so it's like.
Well, right now, you mean short the timing as in, because like right now, the animation is set to complete when the startup completes, right? So
yes, take everything involved in casting and speed it up.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, because I mean that's because I think that's the speed that's happening right now is the 1.16 second startup.
Oh, is it all synced to? Is his animation synced to that number?
More or less. Like I mean, basically, you're. Well, you know what? No, that's not true.
I guess what I'm asking is, can you tune it by tuning that number? By speeding up his animation.
Only on start. Yeah, there's code set up to that the animation is ending when the startup is ending, right? So it's all tuned together, but it's not updating in the game as it's changing. So my head will clear up if I look at a script.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. Is like, is his animation dynamically adjusting?
It can be dynamically adjusted, but it's actually not dynamically adjusting.
Okay, so. That's not super important because I think from what I'm telling you right now, you want to like that's great for tuning, but you want to pick one and stick with it. And I would say that you want your cast animation to be as fast as possible, like your startup for that.
Yeah.
Right, but like probably somewhere like 0.75 seconds or 0.8 or something like that. Like sub 1 second for your animations. Like a 1 second like watch time for feedback for what you did is a long time.
Yeah.
That's a long time for payoff, right? So don't think about this so much in a gameplay term. Like I think you've commingled like player feedback with difficulty, and you need to separate that because what you need to do is pay off the feedback first. Like make it feel good to teleport.
Yeah.
Just to teleport, right? And so even it doesn't matter what your skill level is on that point. It's like you just want it to feel like I understand how powerful I am, right? So it's like think about it this way: when you play Mario, they don't change the jump timings on any of your powers, right? The variables it changes the environment.
Yeah,
and you've got plenty of variables for that. Right. So, but I need to. It's not that I need to stay static, but I need to have a clear understanding of who I am as a character when I'm playing.
Yeah, that's a good point, right?
Right.
Because like the way it is, I'm sliding it around while you're trying to stay adjusted with it.
Right, and it's one of those things that I really. It's a real pain in the ass sometimes when I play like indie games and whatnot, and the concept of player keeps shifting. It's because then what it does subconsciously is it makes the player feel uncomfortable, right? which is instinctively what you're going for, but it's the wrong discomfort. When I can't rely on myself and my powers, then the world becomes, well, why should I bother dealing with their changes? or, do you know what I'm saying? Like, the switching cost becomes very slight for the player. You're like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Well, yeah, you can't sync up with your character, right? Like mentally, because it's like you have to keep trying to catch up to where he's at, and then like you're kind of looking for the feel that you thought was who you were.
So what you want it to do, and think about it this way, is part of the reason that you do the ramping and the slow ramping up is you're building muscle memory in the player, right?
Yeah.
So if you, let's say, and this is a bad example, let's say, it's like this. Let me give you this example. So shooting free throws, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that you walk up to the line, you shoot free throws, you have no problem, whatever. Like, let's say you're 50%, but you have no problem with the distance to the basket, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're able to shoot that far. Now, if I move the hoop up or down, right? Like, I'm your free throw game master, right? So I move the hoop up to 12 feet. You see that as a new challenge for your own strength of skill, right? I move the free throw line back to 3 points. You now have to evaluate, can I throw that far first, right? Okay, now can I be accurate? Now I move you back to half court. Your first thought is, how am I going to exert enough pressure on the ball or enough like force to get it that distance, right? But it's all about knowing yourself first. Now, if I put you at the free throw line and we're in my magical world and you shoot 10 free throws and I don't change anything in the environment, but I make you half as strong.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, like you could only do that if it was like specifically like some story point or something like that.
Right. Like, but if it's arbitrary and all of a sudden when you shoot a free throw it goes half the distance, right? You're gonna be, what the fuck? Right? Not only that, it becomes unfair. Like, so, like, it quickly goes to frustration towards the game designer. So when you mess with the player powers, right, you have to do, it has to be wrapped up in story. There has to be a reason for it, right? And it's a little frustrating playing games where they're like, oh, we're going to put you in jail because that way we're going to re-level you back down. Because we're going to take all your guns away, right? It feels arbitrary at that point. But you need, like, in the free throw example, right? In your game, it doesn't even have that context. You're not doing something that people do in real life, so there's no analog to it, right?
Yeah.
So you can't even assume that a free throw is a free throw, right? You have to explain to people first that it's teleporting, right? Now you're comfortable with teleporting. This is how fast you teleport. And you have to go through the best way to teach the player is to consciously think about the properties of teleporting. Mm-hmm. Those are the things that the player is going to turn into muscle memory, right? So you want them to be able to do that without thinking. Left finger clicks. I'm going to teleport there, and this is about how long it's going to take. The reason you don't change that is when you start changing the variables around the player, that way they can have a static constant in their brain thinking about how long things take by feel, right? They're not going to say it's 1.66 or 0.8 seconds or 0.6 seconds. Like, only the min-max math heads are going to do that shit, right?
Yeah.
They're just going to go for, like, it's about 0.5 seconds, and the ghost is approaching that platform. I'm going to try and go there before he gets there, right? That's where your stress is going to come from. It's not going to come from ramping the player, right? So ramping the player is a very, very, it's a different skill set, right? You have to have, like, it's one level up from ramping the environment, right?
Okay. Yeah,
so ramp the environment first, and in fact, I was going to say, like, looking back at your scripts, I would do. I would organize these things differently, but that's just because of where my brain is at after 20 years, right? Like this is fine. It works. Stick with it. Don't change it for this project. Next project, when you start out, we can talk about how you're going to separate your scripts, right? But anyway, what I'm going for here, and we're not going to do it today, is make Gaspar as fun to teleport as possible, right?
Yeah.
That's your contextual goal, and like I think my feeling is that you want just the right tension between how long it takes to teleport and it feeling good, right? Then everything, like, stop tuning anything else around the player right now. Like, don't fiddle with any of the other shit, because until the player is constant, you're essentially moving two sliders against each other, and you're gonna have random results.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's actually, I think it's gonna be pretty easy to like with the teleport, because like I feel like the sub 1 second, like 0.75, 0.66 or whatever, like yeah, I feel like the game actually supports that speed of teleport like already. Right?
Yes. Right.
So I could easily just make it static, and I think for the most part, everything would work out. I mean, after that point, I might have to adjust the ghosts ramping up.
Yeah. Sorry. Let me restate that. It's not.
Okay.
It's not like, it doesn't matter how big the project is. The point that I'm making is you need to tune to the player powers, right? And so it doesn't matter if it takes 5 minutes or 5 hours. You just need to lock down where the player is, because all of your tunings are going to be dependent upon that first. Yes, as opposed to tuning two things at the same time. You're going to try and close in on equilibrium, right? It's almost like you know how you have like a scale, but like a balance style scale?
Yeah.
Right? It's like fiddling with both sides, right? Like, oh, I'm adding weight to this one. Oh, it's too heavy. I'm going to add weight to this one. Oh, wait, no, this one's too heavy. I'm going to keep adding weight. And what ends up happening is you end up with two super heavy scales, right? But what you need to do is determine that you want this thing to match this thing, right? So lock this one down. This is 1 pound, okay? Now, how many blueberries does it make to make 1 pound? That's how many.
Yeah, that's it. That's it exactly. Because I felt like for the last whatever
you're juggling.
I've been doing this.
Yeah, you're juggling, right? So you need to get back. So lock the player in. After locking the player in, you'll be able to go back through the ghosts, just any of your other tuning variables, right? To increase or decrease the feel of power for the player without fiddling with their powers, right? In other words, you can move the hoop up 2 feet. You can move the free throw line back 2 feet. You can put the free throw line forward 2 feet, right? You're changing the parameters of the game without changing who the player is, right?
Yeah,
so the challenge changes. And the challenge being, so think about it this way, like, most people don't know the calculus for catching a ball, right? If I throw a ball at you, you don't even think catch, right? Or somewhere in there, your subconscious says, I want to catch that thing. And your hand goes to it, right? And you go to catch it. Or both hands, or one hand, or like, there's so many different things that you're thinking about that you don't know that you're doing automatically to catch a ball, right? Like, if your hands are too hard, you can't catch a ball with your hands solid like this, right? It'll bounce, right? So at some point, your brain is controlling the softness of which you're catching it, right? And that's a skill set. So Jerry Rice has a super high skill at that, right? You and I probably have an average skill at that. Babies have 0 skill because they haven't learned it yet, right?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is every player, even if their decision-making process isn't skilled up, has the physical ability to teleport at this speed. Right? You can do it. You just got to decide to do it. That's where the challenge is for the player.
Keeb, that totally makes sense.
Keeb, do you have any input on this?
That makes it
Oh,
That makes it easy.
it does make it easy, right? And so at some point, um, look up wedge testing.
Oh, I just stumbled across that term. Like, I forget what it was, but it was just like,
So wedge testing, I never knew that this is what I was doing, but technically that's how most tuners tune. Eliminate the constants, right? Find your limits, and then start to come in from your limits.
mm-hmm.
But you can think about it this way: if you take the player, I wish I had a whiteboard. I'd do it for you. If and this is how all the early Medal of Honors were tuned, right? Let me just sort of explain this to you. The player is on one side of the equation, right? And we can take a topic, let's say health, right? So player health tuning. Before I set a goal for this, let me sort of explain what goes on in my brain. The player is at 100 health, right? Boom, lock it down, right? The game is about, from an abstract, player health, economy or conservation, right? Player health at 0 is game over, start again, right? So player has to think about what's my health. That is the important part of that genre. Sorry, that era in that genre of games, right? And now you can look at a rock and take cover, right, to gain your health, right? It's like I can look at a texture and now I'm going to be more healthy, right? So,
yeah.
But going back to that sort of time in the late 90s, early 2000s, is basically to tune the player then, before I start dicking with how much the enemy damage is and what they're doing and all that other stuff. Forget all about that. I sort of want the player, like I need to determine what effect I want to have on the player first. So with 100 health, right, I want them to feel pressure after a few shots, but I don't want them to die in 2 shots, right? So I've immediately set limits on that. Do you see what I'm saying? So like from like a human standpoint, I need to know that I'm getting damaged. That's probably okay. So don't exceed the amount of damage it takes to kill the player in 3 shots. Right? Then I also don't want them to be a bullet sponge. Right? I'm gonna go stand and see what it feels like. Okay, I don't want to exceed about 6 shots. Right? Now forget about any variables. There's no damage adjustment there. There's no anything else going on. Right? There's no like player got hit in a location, any of that other stuff. Just from like a gameplay standpoint, you have to make that decision. Right? No less than 3 shots initially to start with. Right? What's the normal? No more than about 6 or 7. Okay, if that's the case, and we have a 100-point player, right? And I want to do about 6 shots of damage. Well, what's 100 divided by 6? Right, it's 15, 16, it's somewhere around 20. Like between 15 and 20.
16.5, right? 17.
Whatever. Like once you start applying damage, the points aren't going to matter. You really just need whole numbers, right? So I can't... That's my low starting point, right? If I want to kill the player in 3 shots, I want to do about 34 points of damage per shot, right? Okay. Now I've got damage points as a range. Boom, put those up. Now I'm like, okay, well, now I have to take into consideration like enemy powers, right? If the enemy has a pistol, no problem. But you have to think about over time. If we've got an MP40, right, shooting at 100 rounds per second, well, 6 hits with 100 rounds, it's a low percentage of how many hits they have, right? So I need to break that up. It's like they have 32 rounds in a magazine, right? Which, etc. So you can see where my brain is going, right? Of like, now I know what my sort of limit is. I can't let the enemies hit more than 6 times in some time frame. How do I tune that? What are the design decisions I need to make on how the enemy shoots, etc. Right? And then the player will have a static feeling about, every time I get hit with an MP40, it's this much damage.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like not only is the player's ability, the player's health, the player's sense in the game, right? Like their standing point, but that's kind of your grounding rod, right, for how you're going to build the experience around them.
Exactly. Like the experience is about the player, and in the shooters, it's much more about like empty vessel. I am the camera. I am the gun.
Yeah.
Right. So it's so much more about feeling who I am as a person, right? Like how powerful am I? And then from there you can keep going. But the sort of like long equation of all of this is player, and then there's like there's all these other things, right? And then at some point, and I really wish that RPGs didn't put DPS up for like a stat on weapons, right? Because it removes this part of the equation for the player of like, it shortcuts them to how powerful I am, but it removes that sort of like, I don't know, the
visceral sense of it.
The visceral sense of like, wow, I really did some damage there, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a sloppy shortcut to that. And typically in games that use lots of like sort of DPS, like it is exposed, is actually kind of a son of a bitch, because like the difficulty is ramping according to your DPS. So you almost never exceed the power ramp. Right? It's like, you remember we were doing difficulty tuning in Keynote that one time, and I was saying that like you want
it was like when things are covering other, was it for Ghost Panic?
No, just in general. Sorry, like conceptually, you want your difficulty ramping, right, to look something like. Let's see here. Let me do this for you. Something like this. This graph.
No, if I had a screen share.
Oh, right. I forgot to screen share with you. Hold on. Actually, just go to the Twitch channel and mute it.
Okay.
Because I don't want to kill your cast.
There we go. I see it.
Right?
Yeah. Like, I know that's how I see it in my head, right? And that's how I thought about it. It's just like, I've gotten better. I feel strong. I feel powerful. Great. Well, everything's gotten more difficult, right? I gotta.
Yeah, you don't necessarily want it to be flats like this, but there definitely will come like a player skill. This isn't actually player skill. This is player power. You're ramping the player's power across, right? But the first place to start with this is the player's power is, for your game, the player power is actually this.
Their teleport management ability, their decision making, like their knowledge of how everything's working in the game.
Yeah, sorry, I take that back. Your player power in your game is actually this, and you're ramping difficulty to match it. Right? If you exceed this power, then basically what ends up happening is you will be asking the player to do things that are impossible. Right? Now, player, because if you're not, oh, wow, what was that dyslexic shit that I just put on screen? So, actually, hold on, let's do it this way. Okay. Player skill, assuming that your power is static, needs to do this. And you need to figure out what these plateau ramps are. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I know that you can't see this.
Oh, no, I can see.
So, and you want your game difficulty to exceed the player's skill level, right? Is this in your ramping document, or do you just have like the difficulty side, the player game difficulty?
Again, yeah, I don't really have like nothing noted like that, like skill versus difficulty. I have it like how it's ramping.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I,
Well,
I've given consideration to it, but I don't have any of this like written out. You know,
yeah,
it's not
yeah, yeah.
so much.
So think about it this way: everybody always focuses just on game difficulty,
Mm,
and you're making an unconscious assumption about player skill,
yeah,
right? Try to approach it from a different standpoint of like uh, ordered assumptions, but also um, put a skill ramp for the player,
yeah,
right?
yeah. No, like I could totally. Yeah, I could totally do that. Like it's kind of in the ramping, but it's just kind of like you know, it's the same thing. You can't advance if you didn't have this skill. If you can't handle one panel, you can't advance. You can't handle two, you can't advance. So I know
Yes.
for sure. Oh, you can handle 6 panels with the arena moving side to side
Yes.
because you passed that.
Right. 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 So you should write it out.
Yeah.
If you don't like write it out, pull it up consciously because at some point you're going to make a bad assumption,
Mm-hmm.
right? So player, and I'm just making this up just as an example, right? But player skill, target identification, right? And you can like translate it numerically. You can on a scale of 1 to 10, what are the player skills, right? So they all start at 0. Where is it that you're teaching the like enumerate what all the player skills are,
Huh. Yeah.
right?
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Then start them all at 0, right? And then relationally, you can do 10% increments for the player of like after this, they should be at this skill level, right? So I'm gonna start to give them difficulty at like if they're at a 1 right now, I want to give them a difficulty 2, right? To teach the next skill level. And so
Yeah.
go all the way to the player side right now. Like it's really easy as developers to get stuck on the challenge side, right? But go to the player side, write out what skills you want the player to have, right? And then give them a score or a rating of 1 to 10 of where they start at the beginning of the game, etc. And then once you have that and you can spreadsheet that, and we'll come back to it and talk about it because then you can start running different models. Like,
Yeah.
right? Then you can start running like my grandma. What's her skill level coming in? 0. What's her like probable like dropout spot right here because she's not going to understand 4 plates at one time.
Yeah.
Right? And you can project into those things. So spend more time on the player now away from like building the challenges / difficulty pieces, right? It's really easy. It's like you fall into talking about, sorry, not talking about, but building those things because it has a physical expression in the world. But you have to do the abstracts first, right? You have to do what the player. I wish I could move your picture-in-picture up to like the top of my screen, so I didn't like this whole show. Like I'm looking down at the corner. Anyway, so basically, take care of the player and what they're learning through the game, right? Because what they're learning is how to be more powerful, right? And if you break their skills down into like even the micro skills, once you get them to 10, the goal is that you've got them to muscle memory. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So once they get the muscle memory, then you can start to do things and ramp your difficulty accordingly. Now, some people will get to muscle memory faster, right? But that's okay. You want to step it out to be the appropriate challenge. Like, anytime I play a Mario game, I never feel frustrated because I've played every Mario game before that.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't feel like, oh, this is too easy. I can't wait till it's harder. Right? The rewards for me is the exploration at that point and sort of learning about my new powers and, explore yourself, explore different things, right? We'll talk about that part of ramping later. But right now, just break the player down into skills that they need to have and then score them 1 to 10, and then put those on like a progression ramp, right? And this will help you get to like it's beautifully tuned when someone of your skill level goes back to the early levels that even when you're testing, right? Mm-hmm. And it feels right.
Yeah. I want that. I felt like I wasn't going to be able to get that.
Yeah, you can. It'll just have to make you have to consciously go after it. If you don't consciously go after it, you'll never get there. Right? You have to identify your own target to be able to achieve it. Right? And these are all abstracts, right? This is all a conversation that you should that doesn't exist between people who aren't in games in this way. Right? You have to be behind the curtain for this conversation.
Yeah.
So think about it this way. Let's break down your skill sets, right? And I alluded to it last time we talked. Target identification is a skill.
Yeah.
Right? How many panels are on screen? Which one do I want to go to? Right? One thing that I notice, and this is something that we could talk about later, but here's a note. I never have a reason to not go on a panel.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Well, I mean, like, to dodge the magic.
Well, sure, but that's like you've elevated that to like a high level skill.
Mm.
Right? Like, I don't even have a reason at the very beginning to learn to not go to a panel. Right? But that's okay, because right at the beginning, you want people to say, panel, click. Right?
Yeah.
I see the panel, I click the panel, etc. Right? And that's their player skill level as they go. So target identification, there's a 0 to 10. Starting at 0, this will determine your ramping. Put one target down. Right? Learn that that's where you want to go. Here's the positive, here's etc. And so like let's talk about like the player lessons around your ramping, right? Then when you go back through your challenge ramping, you may see things out of order.
Mm.
Right? Okay. The next player skill that you have is literally the physical action of tapping. Right? Like, even though you don't think of it that way, because it's muscle memory for you, right? Like, you need to actually give it a little bit of service. Right?
Yeah, that's true, right? Because it's like, I mean, there's a timing to it. It's like, I tap it, and then, like, I know it's taking this long, or I should tap again to teleport.
Tapping in your world is different than tapping anywhere else. You need to teach it. How does tapping work in your world? And this goes back to be consistent about the player teleportation, and this is why. Because you're teaching them what tapping means, right? Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, well, that's like the main fantasy of the world.
Yes.
Right.
So there's your core gameplay skills. After that, the next secondary layer is dodging magic, right? Actually, but that's behind dodging ghosts, right?
Oh, actually, you don't have to dodge the ghosts.
Well, but you know what I mean. It's like, don't go to a panel that a ghost is
where they're at.
on, right?
Yeah.
So you skip that one, right? You assume that's a thing. That's something that you have to teach. You have to teach all of these things that seem like they're second nature for you, right? But think of it as like you're taking a 5-year-old into the world. Right? And they're going to be like, well, why did that happen? Well, why did that happen? Why is the sky blue? What is this? You know? And answer those questions at the right time before they're asked. That's when ramping is gorgeous. Right? Mm. So teach the player their own skills. What can you do? What are you powerful at? And then you can sort of push those skills out. Right? So think about it this way. The hardest... Did I talk to you about like... tap difficulty? We did it a little bit.
It was
right?
Like the distance between the panels.
The distance between the panels. The
front of the panels.
The literal on this side of the screen distance of like how far do I have to move my hand to tap, right? Or how far do I have to move the mouse?
Yeah, that's actually in the progression.
Okay, good. Right the other thing is this mouse movement is a thing, and accuracy is a skill, right? Mm. Being able to actually tap on the right thing is a skill, right? But the thing is like you're not pressuring that because the targets are so large, right?
Yeah.
If you start to make the platform smaller later on, then you're testing accuracy.
I hadn't thought about that. I was kind of concerned actually about that because if it's going to be on mobile stuff too, like if they get too small, it could kind of be.
Yeah, you mean like all of iOS's little fucking buttons
Yeah.
that I can't tap because they're all too goddamn small, and Joni Ive is an asshole who designs for 5-year-olds. So, like, what did they do to Apple Music? What the fuck? Like, I knew where all my music was, and now I have no idea. Anyway, so, same thing, right? Like, that is a really advanced skill set. Once you start making the platforms to teleport to smaller, right, and you have the right concern, which is like, I don't want to make it frustrating for people to tap because you're dicking with the player's like real world ability to tap on a small thing, right?
Yeah.
Tuning that is going to be very difficult, but I think you're going to have to add it. Once tapping becomes muscle memory, right, then that no longer is a challenge for the player. Once they get target acquisition down and tapping down, the ramping skill set, how do you fill out the rest of the 10? That's only like 2 steps in the 10-step like skill set, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that gives me more progression because, like, I got some other things for the skill set, right? Where, I mean, I guess it's still external challenge stuff, but it's like you saw like the panels were moving earlier.
Yep.
Like, I mean, that was something I was playing around with, and so it's like I could introduce that later, and
absolutely.
then I can have different things rotate.
And you make the panels smaller. You can make the panels move. You can do different things, but that's just in the panel zone, right? But instead of like, if I look at your ramping doc, and I can see it, you've got everything ramping individually, like you're only moving one variable at a time, right? Now, what I'm asking you to do is go back and think about ramping the player through their power progression.
Yeah.
And that completes the equation, right?
That's like pull everything together.
It pulls everything together. Lock the player down, make them feel powerful, right? And then you slowly ramp that up. And then you'll have the right time to ramp the things that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, like, okay, the player needs to be great at target acquisition at this point. So now I'm going to have moving panels, but they go under clouds. Right? There's only, like, there's 2 clouds in the top corner and the right, like the top left and right corner. But the middle part, there's no cloud, and the panel moves into the middle spot, like, during a certain time, right? Yeah. Now the player says, like, oh, there's the target. I need to tap it, and it goes by in 0.3 seconds. My teleport takes 0.2 seconds. I need to do it with 0.1 second window around it.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, now you've given yourself guidelines to introduce things that you haven't even thought of yet.
Yeah, that was actually my big question that I had this time. Was that, like, you know, now that I was kind of feeling confident about the basic skills, right,
yes,
with the starting at one panel or whatnot, I realized, oh, well, that allows me to expand the game, and at the later levels for the higher skill level.
Yeah.
And I was like, then I was getting confused because I was like, okay, they can move, I can have everything rotate, you know, I can make all these crazy forms, and I'm not really sure what should come before what.
Yeah. Well, so at some point, it's arbitrary. You just have to pick. This is the skill I want the player to have. Or you can theme it, right? Like, the next 10 panels is about this. The next 10 panels is about this. And think of it like, to go even like an abstract level above a little bit, oh, later, Keith. I saw your message in Messenger. I'll take a look at it. I'll respond on after the show. Sorry, where was I? Taking the player skill, right, is now, think of it this way. Write a story for the player for what their experience was. Or what it, right? Like, first start with, I played the game, and I felt, and no player will ever say these things. I felt really powerful. It's a user story, right? I felt like I could identify targets, and then I felt like I can do this, and then I felt like I could do this, right? And take one chunk of that, right? And assume it's a player that's expert and has no limitations, right? And you sort of write that character arc so that at the end they're like, "Wow, I'm a god of tap touching, ghost avoiding, or whatever," right? Because that's where you're going to find your end, right? Because right now you're right, you could ramp to infinity. Right, but the thing for you to think about is what's the end of the story for the player, right? Because as soon as the difficulty does this, and you gotta close curtains soon.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Right. Well, this is the problem with Three Doors. It has 0 skill. Right.
Yeah.
And once that becomes apparent, the illusion is gone. Right, but that's okay because it was originally intended to be an illusion anyway. Right. Okay, I'm gonna close out. I think I filled your brain with enough crap.
No, that's good. That'll keep me
busy for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like honestly, like that sort of direction is gonna help me really start to close in on finishing the game.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Because it's funny too, right? Like when you're making something like small, it's like every piece counts so much more, right?
Yes.
Than like a bigger project where it's like where I had Cherry, and it was like once I got Cherry moving good, everything else is huge and just builds around that. You don't have to be as detailed or specific or as accurate.
Right.
For something small like this, it's like it can really feel like absolutely nothing is working until like you get this one thing in place, and then you're like everything has gotten so much closer just like overnight, you know? And I feel like this is the final kind of direction where it's like, once I get that sorted out, I really see everything just falling into place, and it's just gonna be like stacking the final pieces in.
Right. That's awesome because I mean that's every time we do these things, it's like I want you to get the most benefit from it as possible. But yeah, like once you do something small like this, every little thing makes a difference, right? Which is why, like, do you remember like how long Three Doors took? It took for freaking ever because we had constant conversations about all the little details because there's nothing else there, right? If it was like a much bigger, have you played there's like a jump scare game or something like that. It's like, and it looks totally rudimentary. Oh, man.
Is it like the maze thing?
Yeah, it's like a maze.
And then at the end,
it's something House of Jump Scares or something. I don't know about the end.
Man, maybe I haven't played it.
Oh, it's on PC only. Hold on, let's see. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, then I could play it.
Spooky's House of Jump Scares.
Spooky House of Jump Scares.
Yeah, play Spooky's House of Jump Scares.
Okay.
It's totally rudimentary and static, but it's like it's kind of a roguelike. It's 1,000 rooms, and you basically like it's go to point B, right? Every time, but it's always changing.
Oh, this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw somebody playing it.
Hey, wait a minute. He's got an axe? Oh, man. I haven't gotten an axe yet. Anyway, this game is Pac-Man Inside Spooky's Jump Scares. Jumpa. So it's interesting because it has a nice rampy feeling. You spend a lot of time without a weapon. Right? Now that I know there's an axe, I'm several hundred rooms in. Right? Like I'm nowhere near getting a weapon, I think. I don't know. Like, but it's great. Like you go do like 10 rooms and then you get to the elevator and you go to the next set. This is like a ramping template. Right?
Yeah.
Like of the things that like the player like they spend a lot of time with just navigation. Right? Navigation and exploration is its own reward. Like the player has basically 0 powers. They just have the power to look and move. Right? And the first several hundred rooms is all about that.
Huh.
right? So it's a single skill set. Like you don't have to have like a complex layered like Call of Duty style. Like you see what I'm kind of getting at? Like you don't have to
Yeah.
assume a certain skill level to go. It's like anybody can play this game as long as they can use a keyboard and mouse, right? So anyway, yeah, fucking clicker heroes. Okay, dude, I am gonna sign off. Thank you for sharing your game, and I hope that dude. You know what? I am once I put this up on YouTube. You know, it'd be interesting. Feedback from you is to go watch this last hour and a half again, and time mark. Like if you were gonna save things for yourself,
Yeah.
time mark like efficiently down to like the bits and pieces that you and I talked about that help you out. I'll cut those out and I'll put them up into YouTube as notes to Josh.
Okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
just tell me like the little sections that you liked and like the bits and pieces that you would go back to refer to. Like what the hell did you say here? What did you say here? Like if you could do it as like video notes, and then I'll make those notes for you.
Yeah, I can totally do that.
Okay, that's awesome because that'll help me out because like I don't necessarily know what. This is the same thing, right? Like in this relationship, you're the player. I need to know how you feel about what your next difficulty steps are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's super awesome. All right. Well, next weekend I might change the format up again, and I'm gonna start updating you guys on things that I'm working on as opposed to just showing everything like the bloody guts of all the stuff. I think I'm gonna change the format a little bit because I've got like 15 mini things going. Oh, did I tell you about my X-ray iPhone camera?
No.
X-ray camera? Oh my god, it's a great sight gag. I'll just describe it to you, and I'll build it on. I'll build it on a show next weekend, just for kicks. It's real simple. We could do it in an hour. So, I have a video that I took under the table of my shoes, so you can see my knees and my shoes, right? And basically, it's like a little sight gag. It's a magic sight gag. You're like, dude, I got this new app, and it says like X-ray phone camera, right? And it's like, and we'll do some like UI bits and pieces that make it cool. And then when you hit like, are you ready to go? Go! And it says like, place your phone in front of you. Boop! Like, place your phone in front of you, like, etc. Right? And you put it down, and then basically it plays a video of my shoes for like 6 seconds, and it's like, do it again, and it's like, you're like, wait, what? So I told a friend of mine, and this is where the gag is. It's like it doesn't stand up to like logic, right? But as long as you pull it off correctly, it works. So like I told a friend of mine, I was like, look, hey, I'm gonna make an app. It's totally a fake. Blah 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 blah. And I cued the video and I said it's gonna work like this. Hey man, it's an X-ray app. And I put it down. The first word out of his mouth was, "How did you do that?" And I was like, dude, I told you it was fake.
If you do that, that's definitely working, right? If you tell them it's fake and you still get the reaction.
Yeah.
Because that's just hitting something raw. Like, what?
Yeah. Well, it's like whatever. Like, I need to make it as simple as possible, but I'll make it next weekend. So I think I've got the way to do it. So it's fun. All I got to do is play a video, right? And have some nice looking UI.
Maybe make sure they're like sitting down. All right. I mean, you
have to have a table. Put your phone on the table, right?
Oh yeah.
Sit down with too many instructions. Like, I'm gonna put up a video in the store that shows how to use it, right? Like, I'll go to like a restaurant and take video of somebody going like, "Hey man, check out this X-ray app," and then I'll put that up in the store. So it'll be fun. I was thinking about just charging for it because I don't want to put ads in it. If I put ads in it, it might ruin the experience.
Yeah. Like a little hitch from an ad or getting distracted and thinking about something else. Like, they gotta be in a certain headspace, right, for the joke to work, so.
Or, well, the person doing the joke has to set it up.
Yeah.
Right? So, anyway, we'll do that next week. All right, dude. Have a good weekend, man. I hope that I filled your head up with lots of good things.
Oh, totally. I'm pointed exactly where I need to be pointed right now.
Okay. Good. And then I'll let you know if there's some stuff I might throw you a couple of scripts to bang out.
Okay. No problem.
Awesome. Okay, dude. Have a good weekend.
Okay. See ya.
Later, Josh.